I need your attention, because this is very, very personal. And yeah, this is very, very personal to this space and to every person who's walked and brought beautiful things to the space. This next poem is dedicated to every staff in the space, every human who has come here, and to you here, you beautiful humans here. This poem is dedicated to you, and that's why I'm asking we, just engage with words.
To be at a space where you feel comfortable in your craft, you need to feel some sort of safety. Knowing that there are hands that are holding you or guiding you, but then at the same time, they are elevating you.
It's a portal to another world or just a safe space.
Everyone can come together and have a good time just watching one performance.
So many different types of music, different languages and other things coming to play in the commons.
It is that therapy, coming to see a performance or coming just to look at what's on the walls. It's good.
I exist elsewhere now, or will exist elsewhere besides where I am now.
Whatever light shines through this space reflects in so many ways that we can't even count or see some of them.
Richness can be pulled from spaces like this, like they're almost wells in communities.
It feels like an incubation hub, like it's allowed for people to grow their ideas and collaborate and build on them.
These spaces where we are able to see ourselves reflected back and actually to challenge our sense of who we are individually and collectively.
The art is not just there as a service provider, the art is not just there as entertainment for the evening so that you can drink with your friends. The artist is there to be in conversation with the audience.
We all have individual stories and we're part of one big story.
We are part of everything and connected to everything, but we have been fundamentally disconnected.
There's so much that needs to change. There isn't the going back to normal. So rather to take the opportunity and then let's see what we can build with it.
It's exciting times. Scaring a lot of us, but I think it's exciting things ahead.
Out of that decay comes another thing. It's like a phoenix,
Everybody slow down, just even stop for a bit. There was nowhere to go, nobody could go anywhere. Wherever you were was where you were at, and that was it. That had to be enough.
We spent a lot of time alone. There was no money, there was no ways of, we had to find ways.
There was collective grief around the death of the arts support during that time. Those things which are so vital to our sense of self, our sense of expression, our way of making meaning in the world. We were all just trying to survive.
I think I would have gone mad if I didn't have an art form to just kind of express myself or just to distract myself from the reality of what was happening. You can go visit your friends, art became my friend.
Just that feeling of uncertainty, the postponement for whoever knows when.
I saw myself kind of being, the resilience of having to sidestep.
And that thing of essential services and what are we actually, as artists I would say, I had that little time of crisis of asking myself how important that is.
For the first time in a long while, people realized how important it was to have a shoulder, just to lean on and to also check up on each other.
It was this absolute necessity of but these albums need to be made, or these concerts need to be put on, or these people need to come together.
Obviously, a lot of things died, but in the same breath, a lot of things were given birth to.
be in a space that celebrates art, where art is revered as like, man, this is what it feels like. I've forgotten, because we've been indoors and we've been in lockdown. And then witnessing the way that it grew just exponentially.
It was like a light in the darkness. It was like a place that actually thrived when everything else was just dying down, and it was really special. I think some of my most favourite times were during that time when there was a sense of camaraderie and people were sticking together and still finding that little spark. And I think that's actually what launched the Commons in a spiritual way. Was that time where it really dug in and gave something unique, and I think most places would have folded, and they actually blossomed.
This whole space used to be a communal cafe for the guests upstairs, but obviously because of lockdown, they couldn't maintain the space. And there are like shelves here with like startup businesses.
Health products.
And Analog Books and Record just had like this one table, and obviously the turntable also.
While so many venues were closing down and there were no spaces for artists and people like that to meet and gather and have ideas, the Common was building.
I picked up chess again in that lockdown, and I'd always known Sam. And we started playing chess together and chatting, him coming up with this idea of like, hey man, I want to sell books and records.
And I think over time, the relationship really grew, and he looked at me the one time and was like, Jude, if you want to buy into this, stuff, why not? And I was just like, yeah, sure, I would love to. Jenna used to manage the vegan kitchen that was here at the time, and she would always come to me and Sam and be like, man, what you guys do here is so important.
I think people were just so in need of a space like this, a real energy of home and belonging and creativity and connection and curiosity.
The Commons seemed to be the only place that had live music, so I was like, okay, I think that's where I have to go.
I found my way into this physical space one day for a Qigong class, and Analog Books and Records are here, and they had just started that first week. And I was quite blown away by the curation of the book and the record collection, and immediately had this feeling of like, who's done that?
We had this list of WhatsApp contacts, and all we do is, hey guys, really show thumbs up if you be keen. This band is coming. I would give like a tiny description of the band.
It's not on my phone.
Third and fourth time, she just told me, you know what, just book me for every gig. I'm going to be there.
And you came to those first few events, which were very, very small, because of the restrictions at the time, and it was almost like, at the time people looked so afraid, but you could also see the appreciation that, we've actually got out of our houses and we can go and see something else.
So one of the days when I was in the venue, just kind of checking, just milling about as it goes when you're just in the right place at the right time. And Sam broached the topic then and said, well, I've heard that you're looking for a venue space or wanting to do something. Would you like to maybe get involved in what we're considering doing here?
I remember walking into the space and saying, what is this place? Like, whoa. I'm a big record collector, so I was immediately drawn to all the vinyl that was there. I love reading, so then I got pulled up to the books. There was music going on, and I said, oh, hi, I'm Benjy, it's nice to meet you. Wow, nice space, cool. A few weeks later, I brought my mum back to be like, yeah, there's this lovely space in Museum, we should go there for breakfast. And I brought her upstairs, and Candice said, oh, hi, Benjy, it's nice to see you again. I was like, sure. Someone who was I could feel it when I'd met her, that she was really paying attention.
The way they have cultivated the community and called people in, I'm one of many, many, many people feeling part of a family, that you're taken care of and you want to take care of.
You do feel it when somebody's greeting you with love, and when somebody just greets you because he needs to greet you, but it's not important for the person.
We ended up together sharing the same ideas, the philosophy, the ethos. It just resonated between the four of us.
And they just brought so much light and understanding, consciously making the space more inclusive, and like what South Africa is grappling with politically and historically, and just how much more awareness there needed to be around that.
I hadn't known that it was in such an infant state as well, that it just started. It seemed like I had walked into something that had existed for such a long time.
Treating each musician as a business entity themselves. Once you start the conversation on that fundamental base, I think respecting and acknowledging each other's like craft just comes naturally.
And that filters into the way that we ask the audience to respectfully be quiet during performances.
We don't mind the groove there and there, you know, people dancing there and there, but when people sit and listen to what we have to offer, it's a great feeling.
As an artist, I feel like my music is respected, and that people are actually listening.
Respecting the music, and to the point where I think it actually offended people who weren't used to being asked to keep it down while guys are playing. You know, when people are playing music, it's like respect it. I think just that alone has already changed the value system a bit, you know. And the people who didn't like it walked out or left. Great.
Some people find that weird, let's say, or...
That's a challenge, actually.
That's really hard, actually, for people that just don't get it, where
because I'm paid.
Need to be, you know, people have this sort of entitled idea, like I bought a ticket, or, you know, a bunch of us have bought tickets, and so we've had people bark at us in the past, so this is a bar after all.
This is not a bar. It is a cafe that once in a while throws parties.
You know, the number of people who watch TV and play on their phone and do something else is like, there seems to be limited connection to what you're consuming. Whereas I think when you come here, it's kind of like, I came here for a purpose, I've paid my money, I've come to watch.
That idea of like paying and at the same time paying attention.
People are there to engage with the lyrics and engage with the technique and the musicality, the words that you're speaking through poetry, and ask questions about it afterwards.
What it does for music is what it does for artists, it's what it does for communities, and the integration between, you know, all of these people.
I might be the first artist to exhibit in the gallery space that's now open. And then once the exhibition was done, I didn't have storage for my art, so she thankfully took my art into the commons and put it up into the space where everyone could see it.
A space where people can feel free to be themselves, to come in their different ways and their different styles and their different vibes.
Allow space for possibly harder conversations. It's aimed at something more connected that starts to heal the fragmentedness of what's underneath and kind of the history and what needs to be unpacked in that, because there are no simple solutions in a place that has such a wide and diverse history. The way to deal with that is coming together.
We're still kind of building upon those ideals of what it means to redefine how people interact or engage with public spaces.
Even if you don't fully know the history of a place or understand what the struggle is, there's some level of understanding that comes through music.
It was probably about a year ago I was here, and I thought to myself, the feeling that this place it reminds me of, sort of the early 90s in Johannesburg, was a big shift and a big transformational time.
It was hard, a state of emergency, and the security police were ruling the place, making havoc, and apartheid was really in high swing there.
It was quite fearful because there was a lot of change and people didn't know what would happen, but it was also quite exciting.
The plays that were being put on at the Market Theatre, the musicians, the bands that were coming up, the clubs that were playing music, trying to make something happen against all this craziness that was there. So there was somehow a very creative time.
And you had people from all walks of life who maybe wouldn't have ever met each other or associated because of the restrictions of the past. We're all kind of coming together and looking forward to this new time.
Years ago, There was just so much to see and do, and on any given night of the week in Cape Town you could have hip-hop, spoken word poetry, some R&B somewhere else, and be some late night stuff going on somewhere else, but you just don't find that now. I mean, there's some nights and there's nothing going on at all.
My experience of Cape Town is that it is quite polarized. The one reason I moved to Muizenberg was because it feels less polarized, and it feels like there's more integration and it's more representative of the country that we live in.
Obviously not shielded from all the problematic stuff in Cape Town and South Africa, but I think people are still open to like having very delicate and very intense conversation regardless.
People here really want to make a difference or change or put things into action that can lead to transformation.
This is a platform for those of us who are out there and who are interested in what's happening around us to speak and write and create.
Where people can actually connect with real life mentors.
Arts and culture, the role is to allow us the opportunity to shift perspective. That's what they're there for. That's also why they've been removed. It's not an accident.
There's a lot to experience, there's a lot to see, but I think the physical space is what's really struggling, or really holding it back from just reaching its full potential. The Commons is the space that it is because of the contribution of so many people. And everything is ever changing. Like things that were happening in the beginning when we first opened are no longer. Sometimes we laugh about it. There's a lot of things people don't realize, like how much it actually takes behind the scenes to run a space like this where there's so many different things. I just wouldn't change it. It's such a privilege to have this space and to work with the people that we do. Sarah from Kopanya said something really useful. The idea of having a community is not that everybody thinks the same, it's that everybody thinks differently, and I was trying to find the way to just find the middle ground.
Without thinking too much, without overthinking, we've been able to balance both, you know, from electronic music to jazz to rock to funk, and it's just like, you know.
First year celebration, I mean, there was so much going on. Things were just starting to open up. Like,
this is gonna happen.
It's going to happen. Like, our biggest fear was being able to pay the musicians. We were like 59 musicians, and we tallied it up. We're like, what's India? And 7 DJs over that time, so it was a lot.
Making it work on the spot, in the space, with whatever's going on, and then linking that to capturing it and recording it and making it accessible to people that aren't there in the moment.
What was more exciting was the fact that we could put together and come as a body to celebrate, you know, all the beautiful things we couldn't define that has happened in the space. The number of humans that have come to interact with the space.
It was a way to honor what had been happening in the space.
It was incredible to see everyone was involved. The audience was involved, and the artists were involved, and the whole crew was involved.
Everything was so well attended, you know. I'm remembering the film night.
Even the director walked in, she was like, what?
People didn't expect that, you know.
This is from panicking 2 weeks before the festival to like, you know, stop people from buying tickets. I remember the last day. Oh man.
So we knew people were going to come out for it, but we didn't expect that kind of turnout at all. If we had known that it was going to be like that, we might have been more stressed about the whole thing. But it was like, look, we're just trying to bring everybody together, just to celebrate what the first year has been, because so many people had played us, so many people had contributed to the first year of the Commons, that we just wanted to celebrate that.
We had to close the gate downstairs. That's something we never do on a Sunday. How? Kaushikman looks at me there like, how did you, I mean, where did you guys come from? How did you even put this together? And I was just like, yo, man, I have no idea.
Who gets called on the most in political discontent? The artists. Because they give us some sort of peace of mind and a reason to celebrate and dance and whatever. But they also challenge us, and they challenge the system itself.
Making people think because of the content of it, So it's not just like, it's also, you've got to think about it.
The language of the soul, it feels like it belongs to everybody. Maybe it's a way that the arts protects itself, that it doesn't need to be held too much by the grip of money.
It's like the Bushmen, they didn't paint for money, they didn't paint for anything. It was an art to show their existence.
It's just seeing the world in different ways through other people's expression of how they feel about what they're going through, what they're experiencing, what they're engaging with.
Not necessarily need to speak the same language, but we can communicate with each other in other ways and share our stories, share our messages, build something together, inspire each other.
You can go anywhere in the world, and when you start communicating with music there, you made a friend for life. And if you're communicating on it together, it just changes everything. It's like a smile. If you smile at somebody, you automatically bring that vibe to them, you know what I mean?
What is art for me? Can I sit with that for a second?
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, it's freedom. It removes the stigma away from who I am, what people think I should be.
That's where the magic is. It triggers something in somebody, and it's a moment of potential transformation.
It's allowed for boundaries to be broken. It brings people together of different class, of different race, of different political affiliation, even of different religious practices.
A form of healing, there's many ways that we can sit with all the ranges of emotions.
It's like this relationship we have between it that brings us to a space of more harmony within ourselves.
It's just a wonderful way to connect myself to the divine energy and with people.
It's essential. It's basic need. You have to have art and music.
It is something that is as part of our culture as language itself.
It's part of our very natural, ancient impulses.
It's a yearning to understand life, but also a yearning to celebrate life.
It's channeled, it can be redirected, it can be absorbed, it can be repelled.
It accesses something which nothing else can access. To me, it's like a dance between channeling and creation.
We as artists, we are kind of the paintbrush or the guitar, and art itself, it's playing us.
It's something that passes through you, but at the same time, it's what you do with that passes through you. It's there so that you can share it with the world,
It's exhausting to be an artist, I think. And not only just to survive financially, but to be revealing your inner world.
The entryway to the commons, we painted the walls in different shades of pink, so it would represent the womb space, and that's where life originates. That is where creativity comes from.
There's a reason why the earth, and even places like Africa, we like to call them Mother Africa, Mother Earth. And it's time to deal with the mother.
This is where life can really flourish. And what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to create? Let's come and do it here.
Through a very tough time. People are still very fearful, but I find that in that people are still hopeful. It's like that almost thing in the air where you're going, right, something exciting is happening. I don't know what it is, but we're looking forward to something going on.
Getting things back to where they were and actually better. As a performer, I'm happy to oblige because it feels good.
So glad that there's a commons. On the other hand, I'm like, I'm so sad that there's only one. Because really, to have a thriving society, you need something like that all over the place.
There should be a place like this in each part of every town, and they should all be connected. You know, we should go play at the Commons in town, and then we should go to the Commons in Joburg next week, and in Durban and East London. It should be a network of venues like this.
From your house to here, nobody has had a Caesar and cut that bond. It's just like, I just left my living room into the bedroom, you know? It feels like that.
It's like your home, but now your home is also inviting artists that you wouldn't go and see if you didn't feel so comfortable or connected to the place.
Everyone just appreciates you for who you are. You don't need to be anyone but yourself.
A homely environment, somewhere you're comfortable, somewhere where your creative intentions are actually being paid attention to and respected.
We do need more spaces like that.
What is this place? How do you describe this? I don't know. There are no words for it. Like Kola says that it's like a poem, which I really love. It's like constantly evolving. Words don't quite capture what it is, but I think the best way I could describe it is
like valleys concealed deep in the belly of an ocean. Like the overwhelming sight of an oasis and fountains miraculously carved between cracks of canyons. Like a lake trapped in the infinite womb of a mountain, hot springs and caves buried deep in the heart of a jungle, surrounded by the divinity of trees and the humility of seeds. Like swirls of a sacred geometry, the uncertainties of humble beginnings evolve. Like swirls of a sacred geometry, the uncertainties of humble beginnings evolve. Slowly, slowly, slowly. They evolve, and the idea of the uncommon is birthed. They evolve, and the idea of the uncommon is birthed. Droplets of inks forming images on canvases, strokes of brushes creating shades and faces, pieces of thoughts, letters and words, bodies and minds, mapping their path, sketching and carving out the ideas of a place from the boundaries of a space defaced and devoured by the claws and flaws of a system, a capitalist system mechanized to favor the few, gentrified to displace me, you, and you. Yet in the belly of this beast of a system, in the southern corners of a peninsula haunted by the nightmares of an apartheid past, and a present slowly being defaced and claimed by the undetected presence of strains of viruses quietly, eating up the organs of a community whose bodies and bones already ache from the delusional ideas of diversity and inclusivity. Yet once again, in the uncertainties of struggles such as this, the idea of a redefined social space is being nurtured, and a brainchild called the Commons comes to life. Yet once again, in the uncertainties of struggles such as this, the idea of a redefined social space is being nurtured, and a brainchild called the Commons comes to life. Delivered into the arms of a goddess, wrapped in the clothing of a salty breeze, immersed in the symphony of our endless waves, sheltered by the vastness of our gallant mountains, like the yellow sun setting behind the misty mountains, far in the horizon, this beauty of a child can't be walked past unnoticed. Like the yellow sun setting behind the misty mountains, far in the horizon, this beauty of a child can't be walked past unnoticed. Attracting every gaze, dumbfounding every eyes, absorbing every being, enchanting every soul. Into her warmth she calls, into her bosom she beckons. Come unto me, all ye that quest. Come drink for my spring, all ye that thirst. Come feast at my table, all ye that hunger for spaces in common, art and soulful meal unusual, yet enriching and unpredictable. It's a platter of uniqueness dressed with good vibes and love unquantifiable. All are the commons. And every time I ask myself this question, what is this place? What is this place? What is this place? And the closest answer I've ever gotten, I've ever tried to give to that question, it's a poem, and it's a poem that is yet to be written. Yeah.
Yo, it's hard to put into words.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Pause for the track.
And the way it was set up was that the money that we made would go. So we didn't rent the space.
I think that I'd say, what do I think that I'd say?
Wait for the train.
Yeah. What again?
Yeah, something's coming to mind. I think that it's a.
Oh, that is something.
So. Yeah.
You jump behind the fireplace.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I didn't. She wasn't.
No human could part in there. It's just
So what are we gonna do the podcast?
In the commons stuff.
Ooh. Actually, I forget this sometimes.
In a small town called Debenek.
Yo.
I feel like you're Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
Sure. Good luck with the editing. Oh, nice little blue one.